psychology for religion and deify science. I would lure priests and pastors into misusing boys and girls and church money. If I were the devil, I'd make the symbol of Easter an egg and the symbol of Christmas a bottle. If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who want it until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious. What'll you bet? I couldn't get whole states to promote gambling as the way to get rich. I would caution against extremes in hard work, in patriotism, in moral conduct. I would convince the young that marriage is old-fashioned, that swinging is more fun, that what you see on TV is the way to be. And thus I could undress you in public, and I could lure you into bed with diseases for which there is no cure. In other words, if I were the devil, I'd just keep right on doing what he's doing. Paul Harvey.
Hey guys, it's Mike the Lionheart Ryan here. Did you know that the odds of your child growing up with autism are now 1 in 68? Please help support the fight against autism by going to talkforautism.com and donate today. All proceeds will go to the National Autism Association. Talk for Autism, until every piece is found.
And we're back. We're so glad you're with us here on the DELOACH Approach. We're just delighted that you're a part of our show tonight. You know, Lisa and I work on this all week long. We start, as soon as the show goes off the air, we start scouring reports and looking at different things that we want to discuss, trying to find that right mix of things that are happening. This last week, during the debate, we actually listened to the debate together, which is kind of funny when you think about the fact that we're living on two different continents right now. She's way up in Broadhead, Wisconsin, and I'm down in Guyana, South America. But we turned on the debate, and then I called her and said, "Hey, let's listen to it together." And she actually listened to it through my feed. And so we got to sit here and listen together and make comments as things went on. Now, there were two debates on Thursday night.
Yes.
Some are calling the first one the JV team or the kids table. That was for those who were not in the top 10 of the 5 polling organizations that they used to determine who were the top 10%. And there were some there in that first debate that were lesser candidates who I don't think really have much of a chance of doing anything in a big way. But Carly Fiorina was the star of that show and is still getting a lot of press from that. The 10 leading candidates for the nomination faced off in Cleveland, and some fared better than others, didn't they, Lisa?
Absolutely. They sure did. I also was very impressed with Carly Fiorina, and I was impressed with her back in January when we saw her in Iowa at the Freedom Summit. She was articulate then, and she was just as articulate on Thursday night. And I have to say that listening to the debate with you was just a riot. Steve's wife, Colleen, is a dear friend, and when we start talking politics, when he starts talking politics, she'll say, "Go call Lisa." Go call Lisa.
That's right.
So
I think Colleen, my wife, and Richard, your husband, both appreciate it when we leave them out of the political section.
I think that's right. But I got such a charge out of it because when you called and you were listening to it on the radio, and so I couldn't have my TV up because they weren't at the same place, but I had the picture going, and it drove me crazy to have the lips not moving at the same place as your radio feed was. So I was speeding up and slowing down my DVR so that I finally had them lined up correctly because I'm so OCD that I couldn't stand not having the lips moving with the sound.
Uh, well,
So,
it was fun. It was almost like we were having a debate party in one of the others' living room.
right.
Uh, we sat there and listened to it and would make comments or would say "ooh" or "wow" or "ooh, that was bad" or "oh man, he nailed that."
Yep.
And so it was really a lot of fun. Who do you think the big winners and losers were?
Well, I think Ben Carson was outstanding. I've been a Ben Carson fan since before he even announced for the presidency. I told you last year I thought Ben Carson was an up and comer that was going to surprise everybody. And I haven't changed my mind about that. I also, like I said, I knew Carly Fiorina was going to be coming on strong because she's just so articulate, and she is an answer to Hillary Clinton that the GOP desperately needs. If they're going to use this war on women, war on women, war on women, Carly Fiorina is the answer to the war on women.
Yes,
In
that's right.
spades.
That's
In
right.
spades. I think probably the biggest loser on Thursday night of the top tier. I don't think Scott Walker did well, and I am a Scott Walker fan, but he was flat. Did not come out very aggressively at all, and I just he didn't make any big mistakes, but I don't think that he wowed very many people.
Well,
Um,
Well,
that was my thinking too. And actually, I've been telling you all along that Scott Walker was the guy that I'm the most impressed with.
I know
I
well,
sincerely believe that Scott Walker is a true conservative
he
uh,
is.
who would fire up the Republican base, but he did not do anything to fire anything up this last week that I could see.
No,
Um,
he's going to have to do a lot more at subsequent debates than what he did this last week. Now, I think there were a lot of people who were that were a little bit tentative. Um, I did not think that Chris Christie or Rand Paul did themselves any favors going after each other. Uh,
they went after each other with reckless abandon.
yes, they did. And I didn't think either one of them did themselves any favors by doing that. I thought the one
I
that
think
probably was the biggest star of the night was Marco Rubio, and I'm not a big Marco Rubio
okay.
fan.
See,
you know
now, Lisa, I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that one. Sorry, I watched the debates too. I really like getting into politics. Sorry, but you say Ben Carson, he tanked in it. Sorry, he tanked. Um, but
Well, he won
honestly,
the
I think
social media race hands down, according to several of the particularly the Washington Post says that he absolutely won the social media war that
well,
night.
what does social
Um,
media know? I mean, come on, social media.
well, it's
But
only the popular vote, honey.
right, well, see now the person that came out in front of for me in the debates was Mike Huckabee. He really impressed me. I mean, the guy is constitutionalist through and through.
yes, you're right. You're
Mike
right.
Huckabee did a good job. The problem with Mike Huckabee is he's too much of a progressive.
Progressive. You want to talk about progressive? You got Donald Trump here.
Oh, I,
Yes.
I, I don't disagree. I don't disagree about Donald Trump at all. Donald Trump hasn't decided who he is.
Right. I
The
mean, you.
thing that worried me about Donald Trump was right at the beginning of the debate
Hmm.
when he would not agree to the fact that he wouldn't uh, support the Republican nominee. In other words, he would probably go off and do something independently, and if he does that, it will be disaster for the Republican Party and for the conservative cause.
Or he could go out and support a Democratic candidate, say like Hillary Clinton, which they brought up in during the debates that he gave the Clinton Foundation or Hillary Clinton money, and he buy. I think Senator Rand Paul said he buys politicians, and of course Trump fires back and says, "Yeah, I gave him money too."
Yeah, now I heard Rand Paul address that. Rand Paul addressed that last night on one of the Fox shows that I was listening to on Fox News Radio, and he said Well, actually, he has not given my campaign any money. What he's done is he has supported my efforts to do mission work. He's getting ready to go to Haiti here in the next week or so to do medical missions. And he said he's given us money to do that. And I appreciate that. But he hasn't supported my political campaign.
Right.
And
Well,
that makes a big difference. That is a huge difference.
right.
That is
But
different. Now, however, I'll tell you this. It doesn't bother me when a wealthy man gives people money on both sides of the aisle. That doesn't bother me. He's a realist and he's a practical guy, and he's thinking, I want to make sure that if I'm dealing with Hillary Clinton or if I'm dealing with Chris Christie, that I'm covered.
right.
Bec-
But
because of the very nature of the kind of business he does.
right. However, the one thing that was abundantly clear during the debates is that, as you stated, Lisa, the war on women and stuff like that. Now, we know that on the left, Hillary Clinton is most likely going to be the Democratic nominee. Okay. And a lot of her supporters or a lot of people on the left are going to vote for her merely because she's just a woman.
Wait a minute, not just a woman. Excuse me, because she's a woman.
Well, okay, because she's a woman, whatever. Okay, but you get the point. Anyways,
Yes, I do.
But you look at Donald Trump's record, and it came out during the debates when how he refers to women and what he calls them and yada
Right.
yada yada yada. And that was just Megyn Kelly, doing, and she's getting big fire and brimstone from the public, for doing that. And honestly, it's like, hey, it's a fair question. If Trump can't handle Megyn Kelly, what makes you think he can handle Hillary Clinton?
Well, first of all, he can certainly handle Hillary Clinton, but I was not offended by Megyn Kelly's approach with Donald Trump. I
Nor was
thought,
I.
in
Nor-
fact, I thought, I wonder what would have happened had that been the case when Barack Obama was running. If the press had gone after him like they went after Donald Trump.
Well, actually,
and-
they did go after him, Steve, because remember they pegged him because he was calling women on his staff, honey, darling, sweetheart. And I reminded my husband of that. He said nobody did that to Barack Obama. Well, yes, they did, because he had a penchant for calling his women the women on his staff by terms of endearment.
Hmm.
So that was something that he had to answer for as well early on in his tenure. I felt like the biggest.
Hold on, because Donald Trump has already gotten probably 5 or 10 times the bad press and the attacks from the press than Barack Obama has gotten during his entire tenure.
Oh, well, absolutely, as far as bad press goes. But as far as being questioned about the way he talks to women, that's the only issue I'm talking about right now.
Okay.
That very narrow window. I thought that the first question out of the box was definitely a gotcha question, specifically aimed at Donald Trump.
That's correct. That's
correct. The who here will make the pledge. Won't make a pledge. That obviously was a Donald Trump gotcha question, and I thought that the most interesting part of that was when Rand Paul jumped up and said, "See, that's the problem here. He won't pledge to. He's gonna." And I thought, wait a minute now, Rand. That's exactly what your daddy did. Your daddy ran as an independent and split the party.
Yeah,
right,
that's right.
I don't know if this is this obviously isn't common in debates, right? To ask this question.
No.
Okay, but this is a Republican presidential debate. People on there are running on the Republican ticket
at this
that's
time.
Correct.
So isn't it conceivable to ask, would they, pledge their support for the other candidate if they, do not make it?
I thought that was a good question. I want to know if Donald Trump, who has said he wants the Republican nomination, I want to know if he doesn't get that nomination, if he's going to pull a Ross Perot.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know that. And last night he pretty well said, that's not off the table.
Right.